Hello from the other side of Instagram on the live side. I'm Heather Bryant, and I am doing live channeled readings this month, bringing channel guidance from my guides, and also doing interviews with fempreneurs and women and men entrepreneurs who have been called to create the new world through their unique magic. And today I'm going to bring on, in just a minute, I have Lauren, the pleasure priestess, that I'll be speaking with today. First, I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of background. Again, my name is Heather Bryant. I'm a channel, I'm an oracle, a shaman, a medium, all things that I did not believe in until a couple of years ago, when basically the veil was lifted and I got to experience and see what was real. I was visited 3 years ago by two light beings who, again, didn't believe in any of this before. I doubted there was anything beyond this. And these light beings shared many things with me over 3.5 hours. And shortly after, I began channeling. And about a year ago, my guides, who I sometimes refer to as the Cosmic Council, started telling me that it was time to come out publicly after over 15 years as a vice president and executive at a Fortune 100 bank. And I began channeling out of the blue. It was time to start coming out. I had been working with clients privately for about 1.5 years channeling about that time. And when they asked me to come out, I didn't know what they meant. And I just said, okay, I'm open. What do you guys want? What do you want me to do? I'm here to live my purpose and mission, however I need to do that. And they brought me the little breadcrumbs that I followed. And those breadcrumbs brought me to Lauren. And Lauren is magical. She's life-changing. Her work is absolutely phenomenal. So today we're going to talk about her and her work, the transition from doing a corporate type career into what she's doing now. I have channeled for Lauren a few months ago. We'll be talking a little bit about that. And also, as information comes in from my guides, I'll be sharing that live with everybody today. So let me go ahead and bring her in. This is the first time I've done this, so there we go. Hi, Allie. Hi, Emily. See you guys here. All right. There she is.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
I'm going to see. Maybe we'll just rock without a filter. Let's see.
I'm loving the gold filter. I'm obsessed with this filter.
I love it. Okay, beautiful. I think we're good. Hi, Allie. Hello, hello.
Yay.
Okay, let me make sure. Hi, Somaya.
Somaya. I'm gonna have
amazing.
I can't wait to have Somaya on too. She's got amazing calling as well.
I know. I mean, like, so beautiful. And she was just in Egypt, which looks so healing. Okay. Thank you for having me on.
Yes. So excited. So I don't know if I've shared this, but just for everybody watching this now and later, I started interviewing women like 4 or 5 years ago. And at that time, the twist or what I was going for was women who left corporate and started their own careers. And apparently I was ahead of my time for my mission and purpose, because my guides brought to me that now is the time to start interviewing women using my gifts that came in out of the blue for channeling. So I'm super excited to do this. You're my first one of this new thing that's been happening. So I wanted to start out and just have you kind of share who you are and what you do, and then I have a couple of questions here, and I also want to share my experience working with you too. But start out, what do you do? What is your magic? What is your work from your perspective?
From my perspective, I feel like it's really big. And it's so interesting because I just shared this on my stories. It feels like there's this new iteration coming online. So in the present moment, my name's Lauren, and I am a body-based trauma healer. So I work specifically with women on connecting to their bodies, connecting to their womb, creating safety within, and that really being the caveat, the lead in into more sovereignty, more personal power, more pleasure in their lives. I tend to work with women like Heather, these creatives, these healers, these intuitives, on how to grow companies that feel really soul aligned to them, and also how to break through the limitations around being seen and being loud and being big and being our most authentic expression. So I work with women one-on-one. I work with women in mastermind containers, like I did with Heather in Sacred Authority, and then also in group programs and initiations. And then outside of my work, I've been with my partner for almost 12 years. I am a mother. I think that's the most important role I play, is being mom. So I have a 4-year-old. Her name's Elliot, and you know, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm all these other things. And yeah, I think it's really interesting, and maybe we can speak more about this, but I always felt as though I was called on this path. I was raised Catholic, which created this really, now knowing, very intentional separation between me and the divine, myself and God. And in my own healing, I've reconnected. So a big part of my path is reconnecting to the lineage of Isis and Mary Magdalene, and understanding, you know, sexual alchemy, sensuality, and the inner union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So it's so funny, because that's like my passion, outside of even my work, is how do I devote myself to my body? How do I devote myself to the earth? How do I reclaim these narratives that we've been told as women that keep us disconnected from our divine power? So I feel like I've been guided into this work, and, you know, I've had many dark nights of the souls, many moments of complete surrender, falling on my knees, and it's all led me here. I've continued to trust this path over and over and over again, and now I get to work with women like you, and just share, like, and shift the whole paradigm, everything that we thought we knew. So yeah.
Beautiful. You're like one of the most humble people ever. I'm gonna also talk about your work, but yes, so beautiful. First, I want to respond, because this is to some of the things you said. This is what my guides have been bringing me. So I never heard of any of this stuff before. Shadow work, healing work, women being attuned with their body. I didn't hear any of this before. Didn't believe in mediumship, didn't believe in channeling, didn't even know what that was. But once my eyes were open, my guides started bringing me, and this is the key, I teach people this too, how to really use your, use meditation and intuition to tap into and call in what it is that you need to know to put you on the path that you came here to be on. For yourself and for the collective. We come here to get, and we come here to give, and the give is to the collective. And they started bringing me, in all different forms, basically history lessons about how over thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of years, we women, the divine feminine, used to be the warriors. We used to be the leaders of tribes and of communities. The divine feminine, the divine masculine, we need both, right? Everything in the universe is about balance. We need both. But women used to be primarily the leaders. And this is just, touching the surface. You guys can all do your own research on this too. But because of our ability to create life, and the nurturing and the compassion and the empathy that comes with the divine feminine, we were put in positions of power, and over time that's changed, and we've gone so far off balance, as you can see looking all around, that there was a massive SOS call to action. And so what my guides have shared with me is that many souls have been incarnating recently, in recent times, as feminine, as women, to bring the natural gifts that women have, back into the planet. So it's kind of like we're overly infusing the planet with feminine, and to bring everything back into balance. And what you do, I had never heard of. And I'll speak to the audience. When I met Lauren, I just knew, like, my guides guided me to a different coaching container, actually, that Lauren is within as well. And what sold me on the container was Lauren. And something said, this is why you're here. And so I connected with Lauren, ended up joining her Sacred Authority container. And I had no idea what to expect. I don't know if anyone knew what to expect. I have a Kleenex here because I'm going to start crying probably. But what you do, you are purposeful in many of the things that you do, but there's also things that are natural magic that I don't even think that you realize that you're doing. And before I talk about that a little bit, I just want to say the other thing that's coming through massively from my guides is just say yes. Just say yes. So I just said yes. I said, let's do it. I joined the container, because you never know where it's going to guide you. You have no idea if you follow the first breadcrumb where the 15th is going to be. And so when we put away our fears and our external guidance systems, whether it's, social media, family, friends, or whatever, and you learn how to tap into your intuition and you follow those steps, it will guide you to somewhere that you never could imagine. So within your container, and I'd love for you in a minute to talk about, because you have a couple of containers opening up within the Sacred Authority container. Not only were you supported from fempreneur, I just heard this word yesterday, fempreneur perspective, but you created an environment naturally. This is your natural magic. You created this environment of such depth and healing, where you taught us, all of us, how to tune into the codes and the messages and the guidance and the voice of the feminine from the past. All of our lives as feminine, that we've been feminine and we've been shut down, or we've been quieted, or we've been whatever it is, to keep us silent, to keep our magic silent, as the balance started shifting. You teach people how to tune into that. I didn't even know that's what was going to happen in this container. I had no idea what to expect. And that's just one piece of it. But being able to identify, oh yeah, there's generations, there's many lifetimes of me shutting myself down out of fear, out of fear of ridicule, or fear of even losing my life, right? Many lifetimes of that, and that gets stored, and you open that up. You give it the key to open that up. So for anyone that hasn't heard of this type of, because you work with somatic healing, right? Isn't somatic healing kind of part of the modalities?
Yeah, so somatics is just being embodied.
Yeah.
So when we do somatic healing, it's taking us out of the mind, and a lot of times even just taking us out of ways in which we're extracting our own power. Yes. And dropping everything back into the body, and just noticing, what is it that is actually coming through in the body. And we do that with inner child work. We do that with shadow work. We do it with, and I'll speak a bit more about the remembrance of her story. Yes. And why that's so important, because actually I went to school for political science and history. So I've always known that history is understanding stories, understanding, where we came from is so important in evolution. Absolutely. And when it comes to feminine mystery work, most of us weren't told the stories of the feminine. So there's this deep remembrance that so many of us are reattuning to, where we're essentially remembering the foundation and the codes and the belief systems of the feminine. And there's so much reclamation within power in that. And, I believe that it's so interesting, because 2 years ago, it kind of ties in with your timeline as well. I was Reiki attuned, and my mentorship within Reiki was me understanding my channeling and these, intuitive gifts, and understanding what was actually coming into the body and what was coming through, and how I can create this in a way where it impacts women and can heal women. But I believe like my gift is being able to channel these stories of the feminine, channel the stories of Isis and then Mary Magdalene, and you know, these codes that were, again, we have to be really clear with our wording here because it was very intentional, right? There's systems in place to wash out these stories. There's systems in place to make it feel a lot of times like we're going crazy, because so many women are like, wait a second, I'm intuitive, I'm channeling, I'm an oracle, I'm getting these divine downloads, I'm getting these hits, I'm feeling like this big mission to serve. And society, the systems, the programming is telling me like, that's not worthy. You know, there's no pathway for that. And what it does is it continues to shut us down. But when we start to access the coding and we start to remember the stories, the true stories of the feminine, we start to see like, oh my gosh, there's so many systems in place that have made it in which we don't remember, and have made it in which we don't know. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I see with women that I work with, is they come into my world and they're like, I feel like I know, but I don't know. When we anchor ourselves back into the body, when we anchor ourselves back into the womb, there's just this innate knowing that happens, that we can continually come back into, and I always visualize this spiral, because we're coming back into the center of our heart, we're coming back into the center of our womb space, we're coming back into the center of our body, which holds truth. And that truth doesn't always make logical sense, because the patriarchy, the masculine, is very much based on the logical. So a lot of what women are remembering right now is like these energetic imprints that are beginning to unravel and spiral open within us, which I believe is what happened with you as well, of like, okay, I'm working this corporate job, making really good money, and also I don't feel aligned, this isn't serving my purpose, I'm seeing a lot of gaps, and in just the whole industry itself, I'm seeing a lot of disconnect within the system, and I'm being called into something higher. And as with everyone that enters into this path, there's a lot of external, like, you're crazy, what are you doing? There's not a lot of safety in that. There's not security. So that's why the somatic work is so powerful, because we find safety within ourselves. We learn how to access safety within ourselves, despite whatever is happening externally, because, you know, we're also being propagized with all of, I don't even know if that's a word, but we're going to roll with it. But the propaganda is fear, scarcity, lack, not enoughness. And that's what we're being bombarded with right now. And the innate wisdom of the feminine is true abundance, is creation, is the power that things are infinite and forever moving, forever flowing. And that's the beauty of connecting back into the feminine spirit, because we attune ourselves to that energy, which is so powerful. It's powerful in business, it's powerful in mothering, it's powerful in relationships, it's powerful, you know, within ourselves, our identity with ourselves, because we can be like, okay, I'm resourceful, just like the earth. I'm resourceful, I'm abundant, I have co-creative magic that I get to tap into at every single moment and every single day. And also I have this anchor of feminine wisdom that I also get to attune to, which calls us back home. I always say, you know, when we reconnect to the womb and the spirit of the womb, it's a calling back home into ourselves.
Ourselves, absolute ourselves, and the remembrance of who we really are, right? Like these we're eternal beings. We're here now on a mission and purpose, but it's so important. I mean, your work, I want to share again a little bit more about my experience with you, but your what you do, it's like, if it's similar, I feel like you have a similar high level calling as I do, which is I'm here to help support help people come in line with their intuition and learn that their calling is really their calling. And, you know, any intuitive hits they're getting is accurate, turn out external circumstances. I channel the Akashic records, I channel your soul contracts, which helps people leave their careers or, you know, go down the path of might be a little fearful at first of creating business. If the money isn't coming in right away, a masculine concept that's not real. And you, I believe, bring in, this is kind of what my guide showed me too with you, is that, I mean, it's very multi-layered and faceted what you're doing and the reason for it, that you've been guided to do this. But you, no matter what a woman is doing in her life, if she's in a career, if she doesn't work, if she's starting her own business, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like you help women again, go back into their body, bring out their memories, tune into this, the feminine calling of this life as well as other lifetimes, to bring out the full magic so that they can accelerate in their life. So they can, because part of, you know, we signed up for the parents we have, we signed up for the close friendships we have. These are soul contracts that we create. I've been shown this 100 times, 200 times now, 300 times now. I mean, I can't even count. We create the life, we co-create our path before we incarnate. And many times we have difficult childhoods, especially divine feminine entrepreneurs that are creating healing businesses. We have difficult childhoods that we chose to balance whatever it is that we're here to balance and to help catapult us into this healing work. And so your work is just, I mean, it's just so powerful how you're helping women, again, like unleash their divine feminine lioness, their divine feminine, you know, priestessness, and call in all, you know, the feminine from history's past or generations past. But you're also helping people wake up to their calling. What are they here to do? And that's part of it. And I remember in Sacred Authority, a lot of the conversations that we would have are, you know, women not knowing whether to do this or to do that or which path to take. And you help us learn how to hear our own body's wisdom, because, which I do it in a different way. Like I'm calling it, I don't know how to teach people how to listen to their body, but I can teach people, like I can tell them what their path is. You teach people the tools that they need, women, the tools that we need, that will last their whole lives, in learning how to follow our intuition, listening to our body. Because like you said, and I touched on this earlier, we are in tens of thousands of years of conditioning over time to shut down our intuition, to shut down our gifts. I remember being a kid and being psychic and being told that it's not real, right? And then you shut them down, many lifetimes of this, right? And so you're here to help in a massive way recreate balance, because the divine masculine, divine feminine, we need each other. And as the women who have come here to do this, or who've come to start in a corporate job or start in a corporate career, and then they're called out for however that works, whether you lose your job, which I know many people, they hold on until the universe turns up the heat so much that you're catapulted out because you have no choice. Whatever the reason is, you leave your corporate job and you start your own healing work. You're like I don't even know, they're showing, like, you help push people up further. You're like helping them really get in tune with the messages of why they're here. What's their purpose? Because there's a bigger purpose for each one of us, specifically divine feminine. There's a bigger purpose than just coming to experience wine and travel and, you know, all the third dimensional things. There is a massive movement, soul movement, to balance out this, you know, again, tens of thousands of years of imbalance with the patriarchy being in control, right? It's time to balance it out, get into, you know, the puzzle pieces need to fit together, the feminine and the masculine, and you provide that guidance. You help women tune in. And I just wanted to say lastly about my experience, it's when you follow your intuition, and I want you to share a little bit about your containers here in a second. When you follow your intuition, which I did, my guides made it very clear though. They said, this is the person you need to connect with. It wasn't just what you taught me, right? Taught all of us. It wasn't just what you taught us and how that helped in my business and how that helped in my personal life in ways that is still rippling out. It's the alchemy. It's like this magical container that you create that there are now lifelong sisterhood relationships from this container. Like we not only have we hired each other to do things, I've channeled for every single person in that container now. Where we have personal relationships, and we're helping each other, continuing to help each other in our businesses. So this isn't just a 5-month or 9-month or whatever the container, how many months the container is. It's not even about that. And it's not even just about helping you with in your business. It's about all of these beautiful, magical things that come along with it, which is creating a beautiful sisterhood community, which I've craved my whole life. And I feel like this might have been the first time I feel like I have authentic sister, vulnerable friendships that go deep to like memories of other lifetimes, even with some of these people. So that's the part where I think that's like the side things that come along with what you do, but also they're huge. They're huge because as women, we've been taught to compete with each other. If there's a table of 40 executives in business, right? After the week after I left my job, I was on a board of like 40 people over Oregon and Washington that helped make decisions for the bank, for those states, for certain things. And when I left, one of my friends, a man texted me and he goes, there's 40 people in this monthly board meeting and not a single woman and not a single person that wasn't white. That's what's happening behind the scenes. Like that's what's running everything across the planet. And we are here as women, not to fight for that one woman spot at the table. We're here to support each other, to recall our gifts, recall our magic so that we can create a balance. We're all here together. And that's the beauty of your work, is bringing all of these women together so that we're now cross-pollinating and growing even stronger, even after the container is over. So do you want to speak a little bit about that and also about the containers that you have coming up?
Yeah, so thank you, because this is such a beautiful reflection. And I always have to take like a step back, because in order for any leader to create a space like that, there's a deep call, or there was a deep call, and there continues to be this deep call to heal, the sister wounding that shows up, where we're conditioned to believe that we have to compete with one another, that only we have to fight so that one woman can sit at that table, that board room. And when I created Sacred Authority, so Sacred Authority is a business mastermind for healers, coaches, feminine embodiment coaches, sex, relationship channels, just this very, kind of broad spectrum of healing that so many divine feminine leaders are stepping into. And within Sacred Authority, it's both the masculine structure. So how are we actually creating sustainable companies with longevity, and creating the back end support, hiring team members? What does that all look like? Like, what are the conversations that we need to have so that we can have the support? And then also bringing in the womb wisdom, the body wisdom, learning the anchor of trusting your body, so that we're not consistently outsourcing what we know, right? So we're not consistently going, I don't know if I should launch this. I don't know if this is the right offer. It's like, okay, this is the offer that's coming through. This is what I'm being asked to create. Here are the steps, right? The masculine steps to create an offer so that it lands, that it speaks to the humans that you want to call in, and also your authentic expression, who you are, the core of your being is always at the forefront, right? Because we see a lot of business masterminds where that kind of gets put to the side and it's so much focus on strategy. And then I walk into containers with so many women, they're like, I feel like I'm a shell of myself. I feel like I don't know myself anymore. My business feels so out of alignment. It just does not feel pleasurable. I'm doing everything that this other business coach told me to do. And that's why in Sacred Authority, I always ask, well, what feels most aligned to you? Like, what's actually coming through for you? I mean, we can map it out, we can organize it, but at the end of the day, it's yours. It's your truth. It's something that you're birthing out to the world, right? It's just like with birthing a baby, there's so much trust and surrender that has to happen in that process. So when I created Sacred Authority, this is really fascinating because you spoke about the board meeting, and I shared this on our first call together. Was that when I was calling in the women that were supposed to sit at this table with me, I called in a council. I visualized essentially a boardroom, but it was really feminine with flowers and, lush, fabrics and just this beautiful essence. But it was a council that I was calling in. And when I shared on the first call, and what I'll share on the first call for this next council that I'm calling in is, we're a council of women coming together. And although I am the space holder, I'm the one that has created this container, and there's been an energetic exchange between me and each one of you. And I'm the guide. There's no hierarchy in my world. And what that established was the ability for each and every one of you to start to hire each other, to start to work with each other, to actually have sisterhood with each other. And not just like this false illusion of sisterhood. There's raw, authentic sisterhood that was created that I know will last lifetimes. I mean, it blows my mind. Yeah. And you just sent me a message yesterday thanking me because of your connection with another woman in this space.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating is because I've become so embodied as a leader. I mean, a lot of times the Voxer chat would just run without like this control from me of like needing to fix everything or needing to come in and be, an authority in this space. Like I was so anchored, and this is what a sacred authority is we're so anchored in our truth and our level of leadership that I held authority just by my presence, just through my essence. And I allowed the space, I allowed the sisterhood to just form, even without me. I didn't feel like I had to micromanage the chat. I didn't feel like I had to, micromanage the experience. I really allowed space for women to be women, right? Like for women to, and I think that that's the thing, that's what makes me so different than most coaches and most women that do this work is I see you so fully as a sovereign woman. Like you are so capable of everything that you're desiring to create. Like you're so capable of birthing that into that world. And I hold that power so well for myself that I can mirror that back to you. And just being in my space, you begin to attune yourself to that energy. So it's really interesting. We had our last call and it was just a cry session. I mean, we have our bonus call tomorrow. But our last call was such like it was so emotional because there's a lot of tangible that happened, right? Programs were launched, offers were created, all of the things that like we want to happen in business, hiring team members, getting structured, organized, like all of that. But what the biggest thing is that you all began to see each other in one another's power, and also each one of you started just to fully anchor into your power. I mean, there was so much of, there was just so much witnessing that happen. There was so much, like, there was no need for anyone to come in and to fix one another. There was no need for saviorism. There was no codependency in the space. It was just like, we're all coming in as sovereign women with this big desire to have our mission be given out into the world, to make money, right? Because as much as money is a false illusion and is this patriarchal exchange, it's also a resource that we have and need in order to feel safe, in order to feel as though we can give back fully, to the collective, right? So there's this desire, and this is something else that we're shifting so much in feminine leadership is, I was so programmed to believe that spiritual beings had to be poor, had to give up all like worldly possessions. And when I stepped into this world, like I had to really decondition around like, okay, can I actually charge what I desire to charge? I have, mouths to feed at home. I have my own desires. Like, can this all live in the same space? And also, can I be of high service? Can my work be so intentional? And I think that within the feminine world, we realize that we're multi-dimensional and that we can hold and have it all. And, the feminine works with the heart, the feminine works with the body, and her most purest desire is always community and service to the collective. So whatever container I create is always about community. I mean, that's always the forefront. So yeah, I guess I can go into Sacred Authority now and like more what that is, because it is in launch right now. We're opening up the space for a new council of women to come in, and it's 5 months now instead of 4 months, because I realized 4 months is just not enough time. So
can it be
5 months?
3 years? Can we just stay with you for like forever and ever?
Yes, you can come back in. No, so I decided to do 5 months, which lands us in June, which feels really good because, you know, we walk through the first quarter together, we walk through the second quarter together, we can really lay the foundation of what 2023 is going to look like. There's this really beautiful energy that happens in business when we shift into the spring equinox. Like there's this really beautiful birth energy. So I think beginning in February allows space for us to do some of the deep healing work, and then also, you know, really lay the foundations within the body and start to vision cast, like, where do we want to go, and then have the space and the support to begin to birth that out and to create, you know, whatever is being asked to be created through us. So yeah, it's a fat, like, Sacred Authority has to be one of my favorite containers I've created. And it was such a, you know, prior to that, I mean, I've worked with women in business. I am a support coach, you know, for Elena Ray, which is the mastermind container that you also stepped into. So I see it's so interesting because I don't always like, I don't always know how it happens. I mean, it's so channeled, but I have people come to me and they're like, okay, this is what I'm struggling with in my launch. This is what I'm struggling with in business. This is like what's not working, what is working. And I can just see it instantly. And I have the tools because, you know, I have studied and have received certifications and have done the work myself to really go in and be like, I mean, group containers are really interesting because we don't have an hour all the time, like just you and I. So I've learned how to get really, really clear on what is it that's actually showing up and how do we move that and alchemize it. And you reflected that back to me on our last call, which was like, I mean, I'm an alchemist. I think as the feminine is alchemy, right? She takes nothing and births life all the time. That is what she does, right? And there's so much beauty in that. So that's my gift, is being able to see, okay, what's actually not working in your business, what's not working in your messaging, what's not working in your offerings, where is the block, where are you hiding yourself, where are you not showing up, where are you afraid to be seen, where are you afraid to speak, and how do we alchemize that, transmute that instead, and have you step into the space of pure authority and whatever niche that is for you. And so it's so beautiful. And I'm really excited for this next council to come together because I can feel the women and I can see them, and it feels like just this beautiful container of quantum leaps, and just taking maybe some things that are working, or, you know, even like it just feels like everything's going to become crystalline, like everything's becoming crystal clear in this next iteration of Sacred Authority. And I'm so excited to support women in that, because like I said earlier, it's like we're taught not to know, and that's the power of dropping into the body. And you know what I bring to the table is like, you actually do know. You know how powerful you are, you know how divinely connected you are, you know how gifted you are, you know how amazing you are, like, you know, you're worthy. Like, let's actually embody that, like, let's actually rise to that and let that be seen. So yeah, that's sacred authority.
So beautiful. I just want to comment a couple of things. I mean, there's so much that you said. I was like, my soul is like screaming, wants to just so many great things that you said. First, I just want to say, for everybody who's going to be watching this and have questions about your work, I want to say again that part of your magic is that you do put your relationship with spirit as forefront. Like, you're connected to your higher self, your connection to divine guidance.
Mm.
You talked about several times doing ceremonies, like to call in the women, and ceremonies, when you're creating offers, ceremonies. So because you're so beautifully in touch with your higher self, I asked my guides, what do I say first here? This is what they said, because I really want to, it's just so beautiful for people who are thinking this might sound interesting, but I'm not totally sure. If you're feeling like curious or a yes at all, you have to understand that, I'll speak to you again, Lauren. What you do through your relationship to the cosmos is you're following the direction, because the direction is going to create something so beautiful and massive that you can't even, right? You're just following the intuitive guidance. You know what the magic is you bring. You've seen how many lives you've changed through that. I mean, the last call we had where it was just feedback to each other and loving on each other. The feedback for you was like you're changing people's lives in ways that you really can't understand unless you're in it and you experience it. Really, you can hear about it, but you really have to experience it. But trusting, as someone who is considering, maybe entering into a container with you, trusting that your connection to spirit is creating something so beautiful, magical, that you're not even going to know all the pieces until you're going through it and it's happening. Yeah. Community, relationship. You're helping women wake up centuries and centuries of being shut down and being silenced. And I cannot emphasize that enough, because that's what my guides bring to me. I don't know why I've been given this corner and niche, why I'm talking about this stuff. This is what they bring me, so this is what I share. But we have to understand that, again, there's centuries and centuries of teaching us women to shut down our intuition, shut down our gifts. This is what they've shown me. Corporations hire women from an equality standpoint, and a lot of corporations will brag their men to women ratio, or even minority ratio. It's all for publicity to get more attention. What's actually happening is that this planet is ran by the masculine and by men, and that's why there's such an imbalance. And we see that in all the way down into what I've been given as my realm, which is corporations. Corporations are mimicking what the ruling of the planet is, right? The masculine ruling. And so we've been conditioned over centuries to disconnect to our intuition, to disconnect from hearing the guidance, right? Because it's known that the corporations and the structures of the planet right now are so about greed and control and things that benefit the few. If the divine feminine, or if the feminine, was to have more say in decisions for citizens, corporations, etc., it would look totally different. We would be leading from a place of, to your point, what's the best for the collective, right? What's the best for humanity, not what's best for me and my bros, or me and what I want in my life. It's when you serve the collective, you're only uplifting yourself. So your magic is helping women. Part of your magic is helping women get in tune with the pieces of ourselves that we've silenced and that we've shut down because of centuries of conditioning. So it's just so imperative. It's so important. It's not even just the beauty of supporting women in their businesses that you bring. It's the unleashing you. It's like you have the key to the door that then the beast can come out. That's what my guides are showing me, literally this iron gate door. And we've been we're hiding behind it. Is it safe to share this? What do I do? Or the world says this is crazy, or and get gaslit for your gifts or sharing your gifts. I shout from the rooftops, but they're showing me that you have the key. You come and you just, in this beautiful, I'm seeing you in this flowing Greek goddess gown or something.
Oh yeah,
and you have this key.
That's my higher
self.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing. This long flowing gown, and you just calmly and slowly but with purpose, you're opening the gate. You're turning the key and opening the gate, and the woman, these lionesses, are coming out. That's what you're doing. So in the third dimensional, it looks one way, but in like all the other dimensions, you're helping us bring back the truth that we need to create balance literally across the planet. So it's a really important job you've been given. Thank you for listening to your intuition and following it. I wanted to ask you to talk about your transition, but we're getting up here on 45 minutes. So from your old life to this life, but we can talk about that another time. What would you want to share, with the couple of minutes we have left? We talked about sacred authority. Do you feel called to share about your other container, or do you want to talk a little bit more about something else that might be forefront?
Yeah, one thing that's coming through is like this is the matriarchal remembrance that's coming online for so many of us. And how I see myself is really being a midwife, like this person of support as you unleash your power and your truth and your medicine out to the world. And when I was birthing Elliot, I was very intentional with deciding that I wanted to birth outside of the system. So I was in a midwifery. Very much the whole process was hands off. And it was really just me and like this divine connection, trusting my body, trusting my baby. But, it was my first time giving birth. So there was this level of fear that arose. And I had gotten to the point, which tends to happen in birth, where you're essentially like, there's no way I can go on. There's this fear of death. There's this fear of the unknown. There's just this fear of surrendering. And my midwife came up to me, and I think that this is, and I remember this in the launch of Sacred Authority, so I think it's important to speak to. The first launch that I had when I was birthing this program was my midwife came up to me and she said, "You're fighting your baby coming out. You have to surrender. You have to let go." And I had a moment in the water where I leaned back and my contractions completely stopped. And I saw Jesus, Mother Mary, and God. And I, whispered to Ellie and I said, "I'm ready for you. It's time to come out. I'm ready to meet you." And that's what I bring into every aspect of my work, whether it's in Sacred Authority, helping women create companies, whether it's, helping women become, more attuned to their feminine essence, more connected to their bodies, healing some of this deep-rooted trauma, like whatever that is my role is midwife, and helping you midwifing you through your own transformation. And what's so powerful is that it's not the same situation of being in a hospital with a doctor, because there's a lot of extracting in that situation, extracting of a mother's power. There's a lot of not knowing. There's a lot of being told what you should do. And true midwives, trust the mother more than anything. So in my world, I trust you so much and so fully. And my role is just to guide you and just to, help you birth whatever it is that you're wanting to birth out into the world. I will touch on this just really quickly because I do have another experience that's actually going to be starting closer to the spring equinox. And it is more of understanding the feminine history and the stories of the rose lineage of Mary Magdalene and Isis, and learning how to do this work with women, because I don't want to gatekeep this. I think that, this work is so needed right now for the collective. I think that this is how we shift the paradigms. I think that it's how we shift, the corporate world, how we shift the way that the political systems are operating. And, the matriarch truly does care about the collective more than anything. When, what is happening on the planet right now is such a deep connection of what's happening internally in our own wombs, in our own bodies as women. So Labyrinth is a 9-month experience of remembering these stories, reclaiming these stories, and also you reclaiming sovereignty over your body, over your womb, so that you can advocate for yourself, so you can speak for yourself, and so that you can share this medicine with other women. And it's 9 months because of that birth, the gestation. So if you're curious about that, if you're like, okay, maybe you have a company, or you're like, I want to go through the experience. I feel myself being called to initiate more into the feminine and to really understand the wisdom of my body and my womb, then I would say that would be the space for you. And we'll start probably closer to the spring equinox. And there's a live retreat with that as well, because I'm such a firm believer of meeting in person. Maybe there'll be a retreat for Sacred Authority down the line, but with Labyrinth, there's a 4-day retreat, and really hands-on practice, gathering with women, sitting in ceremony with women, and remembering her story, the story of the feminine.
So beautiful. And again, I have to say that we as women basically erase everything that you've learned before, that we're in competition, or that we need to fight for a place at the table. The reason why so many women are being guided either out of careers or to create something on the side or whatever is because of this higher calling. It's the blueprint you created for yourself. So you got to turn off all the external, right, in order to follow that calling. And what women are being called to do is part of something so massive. I can't wrap my brain around it, but it's, again, we're being called to create the new world because the old world's collapsing. And so there's many reasons why women are being called out of corporate, because and they know this, that if we have women in corporations, it keeps it stable just enough, but we keep them down, we keep them silenced for the most part, right? When these strong women, divine feminine, who are being guided to create now from their magic and create the new world, as they're feeling that intuition, which I ignored for years, which is why things got so hard for me, because the universe said, it's time now, because of the time that we're out on the planet. So we're being called out, because as women are called out of corporations, it creates even more imbalance, and it allows those things. If the nurturing comes out, if the care for the collective comes out, then you have just a service to self left, right? And that doesn't last. It's not going to last very long. So we're here to create the new world, and your magic, your specific magic, one again, is everything that you said. But from my perspective, they're showing me a vision, and I want to share what it is. But your magic is empowering and infusing more power into these women that are being called to create the new world, through teaching us how to get in tune with ourselves, our intuition, and what we're being guided to do. And what they're showing me, it's so weird, is like a woman standing, and you're standing in front of them, and you reach through the woman into her heritage, and you pull the magic back into her. That's what you're doing. You're reminding us of our lineage. You're reminding of us of our, like, the lifetimes that we were the warriors, we were the tribe leaders, we were the medicine women, we were the oracles that everyone came to. We've been told that we aren't, right? We've been told that we're to be quiet, be silent, don't be too much, because of hundreds and thousands of years of conditioning. So you're literally pulling back in that lineage of the divine feminine and the power and the priestess. So anyways, I just want to say that I love you, and I'm so glad I followed my intuition. And I'm going to be sending this out, obviously, to my audience. I talk about you quite a bit, about, again, your magic goes deeper than you can even know, because you're following the calling of your higher self. You're following the calling of spirit, of source, which, when you do that, you create something so magical you can't even understand it, because of your connection, because you're following the guidance. So your magic is truly needed. You're changing lives. And for anyone watching this, check out, where can they find more information about you and your offerings?
Yeah, thank you so much, my love. I love that you trusted yourself, and I'll never forget receiving your DM and you saying, I just binge watched 3 hours worth of your live videos.
Three and a half.
Like, who is 3.5 hours? And I was just like, well, I'm glad I did lives. I'm glad they spoke to you, and I remember hopping on a call with you shortly after and just being like, yeah, you're definitely meant to step into my world, and we're meant to walk this path together and just be soul sisters, connected, shifting the collective, changing the world, And that's so big. Like I always have to remind myself just how big this work is. It's so revolutionary, and it is this remembrance of our ancestral line, and our lineage, and it's just it's deeply transformational work, and this is what rewrites a new story for our babies and their babies and their babies. And having a daughter, I believe that that's like the biggest why that I can have, is to ensure that she has a safe space to express and to be her, which is deeply intuitive and deeply wild. And so yeah, that's the ripple of this work. So you can just follow me or connect with me on Instagram at the.pleasure.priestess. There might be a chance that that's shifting. I haven't fully decided yet, but it is coming in to possibly change that. But for now, it's at the.pleasure.priestess. You can go to my website, www.laurenmegan.com, and you can find all my offerings. And if you feel called, you can also just book a 20-minute connection call with me. I would love to learn more about you, hear more about your vision, your mission, what is kind of coming through to be birthed, and see which container is best for you and how we can work together.
Love it. Thank you for following the call. Thank you for stepping into what you were being asked to do. I know it's changed your life. It's changed the lives of so many, and I adore you. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'll say thank you, everybody, for joining. I didn't get a chance to ask anybody if they had any questions because I was enjoying conversating with you so much. But if you do have questions, then put them in the chat, and we'll make sure that Lauren gets them and answers them for you. All right. Thank you, my love.
Allie.
I know. Thank you, Allie. Bye.